I'd like to invite the extraordinarily marvellous Atholl Kleinhans. Would you like to come and join me on the stage? There you go. So, as you might have noticed, travel has been slightly disrupted. And Atholl started about 2 days ago in... Where did you start? In South Africa? Whereabouts did you start your journey from? Good, it's on.
So I actually started in Thailand.
Okay.
Well, the journey started in Bali.
Yeah.
2 weeks back, and then I did a conference there presenting some of the work from my PhD. And then I went to Thailand to meet some of the other fellows from Atlantic Fellowship for Health Equity.
Yeah.
To discuss some collaborations on projects. And then I went to South Africa and finally made my way here.
Yeah, and that's been a bit of an adventure, which we shall get into some other time. You're going to talk tomorrow at length, so I'm not going to ask you all about this, but I'm going to ask you about some of it just briefly. So in Makagato, in the Health Scientist Universities, your work is focused on what? What's the centre of what you do at home?
Yeah, so my name is Athol Kleinans, and I am a public practitioner. I teach health system strengthening and policy at the master's level, and most of my work looks at equity in healthcare and how marginalized communities experience access to healthcare. My main work, I am a queer activist, a queer teacher, and so most of my work is looking at how LGBTIQ plus communities experience access to healthcare. I'm doing completing a PhD, which currently looks at how can we create access to healthcare, but instead of looking at or speaking to LGBTIQ plus patients or clients, I'm looking at how do we train or diversify our healthcare workforce. And so my PhD is looking at the lived experiences of health profession students who identify as LGBTIQ plus. But I'm doing this at historically disadvantaged universities in South Africa. So for those of you that knows the history, some universities during the apartheid years were created to train specifically black doctors. So I'm looking at how transformation has occurred within those institutions. But also, one of the key findings from my PhD is really looking at the medical curriculum and how we need to really transform how we think about healthcare. For instance, we cannot talk about women's health anymore because there are women with penises which we might exclude if we only focus on women's health. So there's a whole transformation that needs to happen. And so that's most of my work. How that relates to brain health,
I can pick that bit up if you want. So I was thinking that the last time you were here, you came for Creative Brain Week. That was 2023. Yeah. And in proximity matters, huh? When we started Creative Brain Week, we thought about it as an online thing because it was the pandemic. And then we brought all of these people together because we could. In the first year, we had 124 speakers, which I will never do again in my life. And then we learnt sort of things as it went. And one of the things we learnt is what became the recipe. Nothing about us without us, particularly. And so in 2023, when you were here, we had a session that was led by people with Down syndrome, and you were sitting there. Mm-hmm. And what were you thinking when you watched this? Do you remember?
So I think Brian framed it quite well. So the session was really about pure joy and an opportunity for advocates, self-advocates, or persons living with Down syndrome to really showcase the work they are doing And I was sitting in awe. My jaw was literally hanging on the ground. So I was really excited, but deep in me, I was stirred also. Because my lived experience of persons with Down syndrome in South Africa is that they're normally hidden away. And I have never ever heard a person or seen a person with Down syndrome doing a presentation even better than some of my colleagues. And so deep in me, I was really concerned, but why is this the case? Why do these people exist, and in South Africa, a person with Down syndrome hardly ever make it past 20 years? And so this sparked an interest, a curiosity. And so Dominic introduced me to another Atlantic fellow, Emer, and we decided to have a conversation. And with the generous support of the Atlantic Institute, we were given a Connect grant. So the grant is for fellows to come together and think about a concept.
And I'm going to get him to pause there, because if you want to hear the rest of that story, you're going to have to join us tomorrow. Okay? That's how this works. Thank you. All right. Athol, hugely delighted you're here. So glad you made the journey. Thank you so much. Much more from Athol tomorrow.